I'd like to tell you, you know, in the mission field, I was always right down around Boston. And I liked it down around Boston. It was great. I was in Weymouth and Melrose, and I really liked it there. Then I was transferred over to New Hampshire, uh, or excuse me, um, well, I can't even remember the name of the town that I was in. It'll come to me, but it wouldn't matter to you anyway. You don't know any of the towns there. But anyway, it's right across the river from Kittery, Maine. But anyway, I got a notice in the mail from my mission president that I was to report to Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. Now, Bridgewater was this little town in Nova Scotia, but if you've ever seen Anne of Green Gables, that's what the territory looked like. Oh my goodness, it was beautiful, just plain beautiful. And but the people were a little, the farms were a little back. On one side of the road, you'd see a tractor pulling a plow, and on the other side of the road, you'd see oxen pulling a plow. So it was really diverse, and they were just kind of growing up in agriculture. They didn't really have all the things that we were used to in those days. But I went to Nova Scotia, having been a pretty successful as far as baptisms are concerned in the state, and I was assigned to go up there as a supervising elder, which I already was. And I went up there and we found an apartment, and my good old companion, last name is Blatter, uh, Don Blatter from Orem. Great guy. Gosh, I really enjoyed that guy. Other than when he got an infection in his navel, it stunk really bad, and that was a problem. But he soon got that taken care of. But while we were there, we were going on Christmas time. I mean, it was getting close to that. And one time in a letter, my mother happened to say, boy, it's going to be pretty tight for Christmas this time. Santa Claus is going to have to be really, really careful. And that really dug at my heartstrings because I knew they were sending me 180,000, $180 a month, and that was a lot of money in those days. And it was just barely enough for me to get by on. And I thought, how in the world are they going to do that and support me as well? Then I thought the year before at Christmas time, these people from the ward kept sending me a Christmas card with $5 or $10 in it. And that was a pretty sizable amount, and the amount that I got total was about $125. And so I thought, boy, I think probably the only thing is they won't send it early enough for me to send it to them in order to have time to go do something about it. And you got to pay Santa Claus. But anyway, I thought, well, I'm just going to have faith that it'll work. So I took $120 and sent it to my parents and said, Merry Christmas. Now they had one of two thoughts, I'm sure. I figured that they would have. One was that I was really a spendthrift and I was throwing money around, and that it really didn't cost $180 to be out there. Or they thought, boy, that poor guy, he's really digging deep into his. I don't think they would have thought that it came from the good people of the ward that were sending me money. But I took that chance and I sent it to them. And of course, when they got it, they were amazed and couldn't figure out how I came up with it. And later, of course, I told them. But I can't tell you how smooth that transition was. The people sent their little um, gifts in their cards to me, and they didn't send quite as much as the year before. but they did send $125, and I think the year before it was 135 or 40, something like that. But it worked out just perfectly, and I didn't have to suffer a minute. The money came to me at a time it needed to. I spread it out through the month, and as I needed it, this money that they used for Santa Claus was taken care of. Couldn't have happened better. But I tell you what, that was one of the best Christmas gifts I've ever given. It always is. When you're the giver, you really receive the gift.